I mean, look, you had a federal judge. This is a quote.
I'm wondering too, kind of dipping back into market.
Well, so I think, to some degree, the whole lawsuit.
Hey there, future millionaires. Welcome back to the channel. It's so good to have you here with me today. I genuinely hope you're having an amazing day, no matter where you're tuning in from around this incredible world of ours. So today, we're diving deep into XRP, and let me tell you, things are getting interesting. Right now, as I'm recording this, we're looking at the one-day chart and XRP is sitting at $2.40. Now here's the thing. It's taking quite a tumble at the moment, and I know that's got a lot of you wondering. Is this the bottom we've been waiting for? Or could we see it drop even further? Honestly, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Only time will give us that answer. But here's what I want to show you when we zoom out and look at the 7-day chart for XRP.
You know what's really impressive? Ever since that big crash hit the market, XRP has actually been holding up surprisingly well. I mean, we're still sitting at a pretty solid level here, and that's honestly encouraging to see. Now, I'm really hoping we can maintain this price point, because here's what I'm thinking. Before we see that major breakout we've all been waiting for, I'm still very much expecting XRP to bounce back strong. The fundamentals are there, the support seems to be holding, and all signs are pointing toward a solid rebound coming our way. And check this out, Bitcoin just dropped back under $111,000. Now, here's something that's been bugging me lately. I keep seeing so many comments asking, why is only XRP dipping right now? And honestly, it's like, are we looking at the same charts here? The whole market is taking a hit right now, but for some reason, people seem to have tunnel vision when it comes to XRP. It's almost like they've got blinders on and can't see what's happening with literally every other cryptocurrency out there. Here's the reality check we all need. XRP is still following Bitcoin's lead, just like it always has. When Bitcoin dumps, guess what happens? The entire market follows suit. It's that simple. This isn't an XRP-specific problem. This is just how crypto markets work, and we've seen this pattern play out countless times before. So here's what's really happening behind the scenes. Trump just announced that the US is in a full-blown trade war with China. But wait, it gets even more intense. We're also caught up in a currency war right now, and let me tell you, this is getting wild. Picture this. It's like a high-stakes race to see who can back their currency with gold first. Whoever wins that race, their currency is probably going to absolutely skyrocket, and I mean fast. But here's the frustrating part that I know we're all feeling. Every single time they start talking about trade deals and tariffs, we already know exactly how the markets are going to react. It's like we've seen this movie before, right? Honestly, it feels like everyone just wants a break from all this drama. The market finally starts looking good, we get a little momentum going, and then bam! Here come the tariff talks again, throwing everything into chaos. It's exhausting, but that's the reality we're dealing with right now. Honestly, this feels like straight-up market manipulation to me. Right now, XRP is looking like it wants to test that $2 level again, and yeah, there's definitely a real chance we could see it drop back down there. But here's where I'm getting optimistic. I really think we're going to hold strong from this point forward. The market fundamentals for XRP are looking absolutely incredible right now. And you know what's going to happen once this breakout finally kicks off? Everyone's going to completely forget about this rough patch we're going through. That's just how crypto works, right? All these tariff worries and trade tensions, they'll become ancient history the moment we start that parabolic move upward. And trust me, it's definitely coming. Here's what cracks me up, though. Nobody wants to believe in the potential on red days like today. But the second the market flips green, suddenly everyone's back to screaming about 10,000 XRP. We see this cycle play out every single time. Speaking of predictions, I'm seeing some absolutely wild price targets for XRP lately. The same analysts who were calling for $10 XRP just months ago, now they're talking $20, $30, even higher. And honestly, when you look at everything that's building behind this cryptocurrency, you can start to see why they're getting so bullish. And when this finally happens, guys, it's going to be absolutely mind-blowing. So I came across this incredible post from Crypto Reviewing, and I had to share it with you because it really got me thinking. Here's what they said, and honestly, it's kind of genius. You know what would be absolutely hilarious? Altseason sending altcoins to the moon right now, exactly when everyone has completely given up hope. Think about this for a second. We literally just witnessed the largest liquidation event of all time. The majority of traders are completely wrecked right now. So what would be the perfect time to absolutely launch this market into orbit? Right now. Now, realistically, yeah, it would take some time for the market to fully recover. But here's the thing that's been bothering me. Altcoins have been stuck in this consolidation phase for years. Many of them are barely even up this cycle, which is exactly why so many people were expecting alt season to have arrived by now. I mean, how many of you were already planning to be retired on some private yacht in the Bahamas by this point? I know I was. And that's exactly why alt season hasn't happened yet. Too many people were ready for it. Here's where it gets really interesting. Put yourself in the shoes of a market maker for just a moment. What's the absolute best way to extract maximum profit from the market? Simple. By liquidating as many investors as possible first, then launching when no one expects it. So here's how this whole strategy would play out. And honestly, it's both brilliant and absolutely ruthless at the same time. First, they scoop up all these coins at ridiculously cheap prices while everyone's panicking and selling. Then, BAM. They launch the crypto market into the stratosphere right when nobody's expecting it. Now here's where it gets really devious. Most people would be sitting on the sidelines, completely caught off guard. Then what happens? Classic FOMO kicks in. Everyone starts panic buying at the absolute top of the market, and that's when they pull the rug. They dump everything on these late buyers for absolutely insane profits. And then, just like that, they can kick off the next bear market cycle. I know it sounds brutal, and trust me, it really is that cruel. But from a strategic standpoint, it's actually genius. As much as we hate to admit it, this strategy makes perfect financial sense for the big players. So here's my advice. Don't be surprised if this exact scenario plays out next. We've seen these patterns before, and the market makers know exactly how to push our psychological buttons. Stay alert, stay smart, and don't let them catch you off guard. Here's something that really breaks my heart. There are so many people who are going to completely miss out on alt season because they're going to sell way too early. Picture this. Once everyone gets euphoric about crypto and the hype is at maximum levels, only a small fraction of people will still be holding their bags. Most will have already panic sold everything. This is why I keep telling you guys, don't sell too soon. You're going to have every YouTuber, every Twitter analyst, every so-called expert calling the top over and over again. But here's the thing. You absolutely cannot follow what other people are saying. Instead, here's what I want you to do when that time comes. Look around and really pay attention to what's happening with XRP and the broader crypto space. Ask yourself, is the US government actually promoting crypto? I'm talking about really hyping it up, making it mainstream. Because when that happens, that's often a sign that we might be getting close to a top. But here's what's got me really thinking differently this time. The sheer amount of institutional money that's going to flow into these ETFs. This isn't going to be some quick pump and dump, guys. We're talking about consistent money flowing in month after month, like clockwork. So here's my big question. How does XRP top out in January or February if these ETFs go live in November? It just doesn't add up to me. I'm actually thinking XRP is going to run way longer than most people expect, possibly all the way into summer 2025. We could be looking at new all-time high after new all-time high, driven by this massive institutional money flow. And when you combine that with the regulatory clarity we're supposed to get by the end of this year, though honestly, I think that's probably going to get delayed too. Everything seems like it's setting up for an even bigger play in 2026. Don't get me wrong, I still think XRP will hit double digits way before then, and most people will be selling day after day, convinced the top is in every time we see a little pullback. Here's what's going to catch everyone off guard. People are going to panic and want to sell because they'll think we're heading into a bear market. But in reality, we're actually just getting started on what could be an extended bull run. Listen, I'm not worried at all that the bear market has begun. This cycle has already proven to be completely different from anything we've seen before. Think about it. October turned into Downtober. Altcoins didn't all break out at the same time like in previous cycles. And Bitcoin hit new all-time highs before the halving even happened. You know what this tells me? The famous 4-year cycle theory? I think we need to throw it out the window completely. This cycle is going to be way longer than people expect.
I've been saying this for a while now, but I genuinely believe we're still in the equivalent of Q3 2019 right now. If I'm right about that, we could have another 1.5 to 2 years left in this cycle. That's massive. Now, here's where it gets interesting. I think some cryptocurrencies might peak way before others. Bitcoin could have its major run-up by the end of this year, maybe extending into January. But I don't see it going much beyond that. Everyone keeps talking about all this ETF money flowing into Bitcoin, and yeah, that's huge right now. But here's what they're missing. That's only because Bitcoin and Ethereum are the only options available. Once we start getting Solana ETFs, XRP ETFs, HBAR ETFs, and all these other options, guess what's going to happen? That money is going to spread out and shift away from Bitcoin. I know nobody wants to believe it right now, but mark my words, I can already see it happening.
EZA made a brilliant point that I absolutely have to share with you. The faster we flush out all these weak hands, the faster we can get back on track to new all-time highs. And honestly, he's absolutely right. Here's the cruel irony of crypto markets. The second you decide to sell is literally when the market decides to turn around and rocket upward. I've watched this heartbreaking scenario play out for so many people over the years, and it never gets easier to see. Let me take you back to the legendary 2021 run for a perfect example. I remember people posting things like, "Ugh, I just sold my XRP at $1.10. I'm done with this." And then what happened? XRP absolutely exploded and hit $1.92. Nobody, and I mean nobody, saw that coming. Think about the context here. The Ripple versus SEC case was brand new. Most exchanges had already delisted XRP, and the sentiment was absolutely terrible. It seemed like the worst possible time to hold XRP, so naturally, a ton of people sold way too early. But here's what's really wild. Before that whole SEC drama even started, people were confidently predicting XRP would hit $10 during that run. The potential was always there, but fear and uncertainty made people bail out just before the big move. This is exactly why timing the market is so dangerous and why holding through the noise often pays off in the long run. Listen up, because this is absolutely crucial. Capitulation does not mark the end. Let me tell you why I'm actually getting excited right now. Cast your mind back to 2017 for a second. XRP had this massive capitulation wick that scared everyone to death. But guess what happened just 6 weeks later? It absolutely exploded to the upside and never looked back. That was one of the most incredible runs we've ever witnessed. Now here's where it gets really interesting. XRP just had that exact same type of capitulation event on Friday. And suddenly, everyone's buzzing about expecting a parabolic move next. The parallels are honestly mind-blowing. But here's where I disagree with the crowd. I don't think we need to wait another 6 weeks this time. I have this feeling that something big is about to get XRP moving, and moving fast. What exactly will it be? Honestly, we don't know yet, and that's what makes this so exciting. Maybe the government reopens and they fast-track those XRP ETFs we've all been waiting for. That could be the catalyst that really gets this rocket ship launched. But regardless of what the specific trigger is, I'm still incredibly optimistic that XRP is going to start breaking out over the next week or two. I keep seeing people saying that by the end of this month, things are looking very promising for XRP to smash through to a new all-time high. Will it actually happen? Well, we're about to find out together. All right, guys, we need to talk about what just happened with Ripple's Brad Garlinghouse. He dropped some absolutely incredible comments about a federal judge's thoughts on the SEC, and trust me, you're going to want to hear this. So Brad was recently in DC, and he had some really juicy things to say that I just have to share with all of you. Now, I know there's this 21-minute video of Brad floating around on X right now, but let's be real. I'm not going to torture you by making you sit through the entire thing. Instead, let me break down the most important parts for you so we can get straight to the good stuff without putting you to sleep.
And I mean, look, you had a federal judge, this is a quote, a federal judge said about the Gensler SEC, they are not following a faithful allegiance to the law. Yeah, that's pretty damning for a federal judge who happened to be appointed by Obama, that they would come out and say that about a Biden SEC. I don't think we will go back to that. And frankly, I think the ship has sailed. I think that you can't put the genie back in the bottle in the United States. I don't think you really could, even though Biden may have tried with Gensler. But I think now that we are where we are, we are seeing many banks lean in. But for years, the US was a frozen market.
Right.
And you know what? He's absolutely spot on. The crypto market was completely frozen here in the US, and all that incredible innovation was just packing up and moving overseas. We were literally watching our competitive edge slip away to other countries. But here's the game-changing part. Brad made it crystal clear that that ship has sailed. We're not going back to those dark days of crypto crackdowns and regulatory uncertainty. Those days are behind us now. The momentum is undeniable. Everything is still moving forward, and there's no stopping this train. The US is finally waking up to the fact that if we don't embrace crypto innovation, we're going to get left in the dust by countries that do. Now here's something really interesting that Brad brought up. He talked about this whole confusion around XRP having a CEO. And honestly, this is a question I see in the comments all the time. People keep asking, wait, who's the CEO of XRP? It's such a common misconception, and I'm so glad Brad finally addressed this head on. Let me tell you what he had to say about this, because it's going to clear up a lot of confusion once and for all.
Well, so I think to some degree, the whole lawsuit for Ripple was about what is Ripple, which is a privately funded company that raised venture capital and issued stock associated with that. Those are securities. What is XRP, which is a technology, an open source technology that is kind of native to our products. We use XRP in our product stack, but there are scores of other companies building in and around the XRP ecosystem. People will say things like, well, XRP has a CEO. And I'm like, who is it? Ripple has a CEO, that's me. There's scores, if not 100 other CEOs building around the XRP ecosystem. And I think that's when I hear people say that, I think, okay, they're not educated about what's going on. And so we need to educate people. Obviously, you see that in a number of other tokens where there's a very distributed, very open source community. People don't understand. Ripple does not control XRP. It is open source. There have been amendments passed to the XRP open source technology that we opposed. We were against them, and they still passed. That's okay. That's open source technology. There's other things we have championed that have passed, but it takes 80% of the community approving those amendments, which Ripple doesn't have control of that.
Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, if you were to define kind of what's a commodity versus a security, how would you do that?
Yeah, I'm going to do everything I can to dodge that question up here.
XRP has no CEO. Ripple has a CEO, which is Brad Garlinghouse. There's a big difference there, and a lot of people always said, well, what happens if we don't pass laws in the United States? Brad addressed this as well.
I'm wondering too, kind of dipping back into market structure here for a second. I mean, if the Senate doesn't get stuffed on market structure, you've said that you've already seen this increased interest in things like stablecoin in the markets. I mean, does that kind of put a freeze on things if there's no regulatory clarity coming from Congress this year, no certainty? Is that going to make it that much harder for a lot of the digital asset space to gain traction with companies, gain traction with banks?
So I think you asked the question in kind of a black versus white, and I think about it as gray. It depends upon the bank. It depends upon what people like Paul Atkins say publicly and put out as position papers on behalf of the SEC or CFTC. And I think it's kind of to be determined. But the more time that goes by, the better I think it is for the industry, period. Again, Ripple happens to be in a unique position, and that we fought a multi-year battle to get that clarity for XRP. And so that the number of people building in and around the XRP ecosystem grew quickly after that resolution was final, because like, oh, okay, this is now clear. I think the whole industry needs that. The whole industry needs to be able to lean in and build, whether you're building payment solutions, custody solutions, land title registry solutions, tokenizing commercial real estate. Like this tsunami is still coming, and I don't think there's anything that the U.S. federal government is going to do to stop that. Mm-hmm. Leaning in to provide clarity so that consumers are protected, companies know how to operate. The vast, vast, vast majority of entrepreneurs I know in crypto want to play by the rules. They're asking to understand what the rules are.
And this is exactly why it really doesn't matter if we get that Clarity Act or not, because some banks are going to work with Ripple either way. Think about it like this. It's just like having institutional investors. You've got some that act like retail investors and dive headfirst into the space, while others sit on the sidelines waiting for perfect regulations before they even think about getting involved. But here's the thing. You're not going to slow down innovation.
The train is already rolling at full speed, and honestly, the United States is scrambling to catch up to the rest of the world right now. So what does this mean for banks here in America? They want to get on board as fast as humanly possible because they desperately want that level playing field. Now, picture this scenario. If you're running a small community bank, how on earth do you compete with giants like JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs? You need something that's absolutely game-changing, and you need that crucial first-mover advantage. Imagine a small community bank jumps on board with crypto and starts using RippleNet and XRP. Suddenly, they're offering their customers wire transfers that happen in seconds for less than a penny. That instantly makes them incredibly competitive in the banking market. Plus, think about the customer acquisition. If they start offering crypto solutions, they're going to have new customers lining up at their front door. But that's just how the world works, right? Some people absolutely need regulations in place before they'll even consider entering this space, while others are ready to go all in regardless. Both approaches have their place, and that's perfectly okay.
So, bringing it all back to where we started. XRP is sitting at $2.41 right now, and the big question on everyone's mind is, are we going to see more downside from here?
Honestly, we just don't know yet. Tomorrow we might wake up to more tariff talks about other countries, and we already know how much crypto hates hearing about tariffs. Look, I get it. I just want this market to start moving too. I completely understand your frustration, and trust me, I'm feeling it right alongside you. But here's what I need you to remember. You absolutely cannot give up on red days like this. Because the second, and I mean the very second, you decide to sell, guess who's waiting there with open arms? The whales, the institutions. They're literally sitting there ready to scoop up your XRP at these discounted prices. You need to stay in this game because you're going to make serious money in the end. I promise you, it's going to happen. We're going to witness a parabolic rise in crypto that's going to blow everyone's minds. Think about it. Most people who bought their XRP at 50 cents or less, they're already sitting pretty in profit. Even if you bought at $1 and change, you're still green right now. Now, I understand some of you who are newer to crypto might have bought in at $3 or higher, and I know that stings right now. But listen to me. You're still going to make money. Do you really think XRP isn't going to smash through to a new all-time high? Do you think it's not going to enter price discovery mode? Of course it is. Here's how I'm looking at this situation. The institutions want cheap crypto. Trump talks about tariffs, and what happens? The institutions get exactly what they want, cheap crypto. So please, don't sell on a red day like this. Until that breakout happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. All right, everyone, that's going to wrap up today's video. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. I genuinely appreciate all of you being part of this incredible community. I'll catch you in the next one, and until then, have an absolutely amazing night.